With the global conflict dominating headlines these days, so many of you are asking where in the world is actually good to move to. Today, we are spotlighting 5 of the safest countries if your biggest fear is global conflict. But we are also going one step further, because being safe is not just about war. It is also about natural disasters, climate exposure, infrastructure, and whether a country can actually handle a crisis when one hits. And here is the twist. The country that may be the safest overall, when you include those other hazards, is not number 1 on this list. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you are going to have 2 answers. The best country for avoiding geopolitical chaos, and the smartest country if you want the strongest all-around safety profile in the real world. Now, very quickly, let's define what we mean by safe. For the main ranking, I am using the latest Global Peace Index 2025, which measures peacefulness across 163 countries. That means not just whether a country is in a war, but also internal safety, security, and militarization. For the broader picture, I am cross-checking with the official World Risk Index 2025 and Inform Risk 2025, which look at natural hazards, vulnerability, and how well countries can cope when disasters or humanitarian shocks happen. And one more important point, this is not a list of fantasy utopias. This is a practical shortlist of countries that score well when the world feels unstable. No country is risk-free. The real question is which places give you the best odds if the 21st century keeps getting messier. So, let's count them down. Number 5, Switzerland. At number 5, we have Switzerland. On the 2025 Global Peace Index, Switzerland sits in the top 5 most peaceful countries in the world. And what makes Switzerland stand out is that it is not just peaceful on paper. In the broader 2025 risk data, it also remains in the very low-risk tier overall, which is exactly what you want. If you are thinking beyond headlines and asking, what happens if multiple systems fail at once? Switzerland is the kind of country people picture when they think of order, predictability, and resilience. And that matters, because in a crisis, you are not just depending on geography. You are depending on institutions, planning, infrastructure, and social stability. The Global Peace Index itself notes that the countries at the top tend to have high positive peace scores, which is really a way of saying their systems are built to absorb stress better than most. So if your personality leans toward structure, preparedness, and long-term stability, Switzerland absolutely belongs on your shortlist. Number 4, Austria. At number 4, Austria. Austria is tied near the very top of the 2025 Global Peace Index, and it also performs well when you bring broader hazard data into the conversation. That makes it one of the strongest, balanced options on this list. Not necessarily the flashiest answer, but one of the most rational ones. Austria is a great reminder that the safest country is not always the most remote country. A lot of people assume safety means distance from the world. But in reality, safety often means strong governance, solid infrastructure, and a society that remains functional under pressure. Austria keeps showing up well because it combines peacefulness with institutional strength. So if you want a country that feels deeply stable without being isolated from Europe, Austria is one of the smartest options in the world right now. Number 3, New Zealand. At number 3, New Zealand. If your biggest fear is being dragged into a major geopolitical conflict, New Zealand is one of the first places people think of. And the 2025 Global Peace Index supports that instinct. It ranks 3rd overall, and it also scores extremely well on the ongoing conflict dimension. In plain English, New Zealand is far away from a lot of global flashpoints, and that distance still matters. But this is where the conversation gets more interesting. New Zealand looks incredible for conflict avoidance, yet the broader hazard data is less perfect than the raw peace ranking suggests. Official 2020 disaster and risk datasets place it behind several European countries and behind Singapore as well. Once you include natural hazard exposure and overall resilience in the picture. So New Zealand is still an outstanding answer if your main concern is geopolitical distance and peacefulness. But if you are asking for the single safest all-around profile, it is not quite as unbeatable as internet myths sometimes suggest. Number 2. Ireland. At number 2, Ireland. Ireland ranks second on the 2025 Global Peace Index, and that is not a small detail. It means that right now, by one of the world's leading peace measures, Ireland is sitting near the absolute top when it comes to societal stability and low conflict risk. On top of that, Inform 2025 keeps Ireland in the very low-risk category overall. What I like about Ireland in this conversation is that it often gets overlooked. It does not have the dramatic end-of-the-world safe haven image that New Zealand has. It does not have the luxury, stability image of Switzerland. But the numbers are telling you something very important. Ireland is consistently one of the safest serious options in the world. And that is why Ireland may actually be one of the best picks for people who want a country that feels normal, connected, modern, and calm, instead of feeling like a survivalist fantasy. Number 1. Iceland. And at number 1, Iceland. Iceland remains the most peaceful country in the world in the 2025 Global Peace Index, and not by a tiny margin. The report says the gap between Iceland and the country in second place is as large as the gap between second place and 10th place. That is a huge statement. It tells you Iceland is not just first. It is clearly first. It also stays in the very low risk bracket in Inform 2025, which means this is not just a one-metric wonder. Iceland works because it combines an extraordinary peace ranking with a broader pattern of resilience. If your number one concern is, where am I least likely to get caught in geopolitical chaos? Iceland is the cleanest answer on the board right now. Now, that does not mean Iceland is automatically the perfect move for every person. Safety is only one category. Your actual life will still depend on work, housing, climate, community, and whether you can build a future there. But if we are answering the narrow question of conflict safety, Iceland is the winner. Which one is the safest overall when you include other hazards? But now we get to the bonus answer. If you include natural hazards, disaster exposure, vulnerability, and crisis handling capacity, the country that probably deserves the title of safest overall is Singapore. And yes, that is the surprise. Singapore is number 6 on the 2025 Global Peace Index, so it just misses the top 5 for pure peacefulness. But when you look at the official 2025 Inform and World Risk Index datasets, Singapore stands out as one of the strongest all-around performers. In the official downloadable data behind those rankings, it comes out better overall than the 5 conflict-focused countries above when you broaden the lens beyond peace alone. That is why I would call Singapore the smartest total package answer, even though it is not the number 1 peace country. So here is the simple way to think about it. If your top priority is avoiding global conflict, pick Iceland. If your top priority is the strongest all-around safety profile, with conflict plus broader hazards in mind, the more strategic answer is Singapore. So the final ranking for conflict safety is Iceland, Ireland, New Zealand, Austria, and Switzerland. But the overall wild card, and maybe the most important takeaway in this entire video, is Singapore. Because the safest place in the world is not always the place that feels the most remote. Sometimes it is the place with the best systems, the best resilience, and the best ability to stay functional when the world gets ugly.